Danny DeVito is 80 years old today, and the way he lives surprises and at the same time brings a lot of sadness. But before understanding his current life, let's get to know together his story, full of struggles, pains, and also incredible achievements. So if you like this type of content, subscribe to the channel and don't forget to turn on the notifications bell so you don't miss any new videos. Ready? So let's start discovering the trajectory of Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito was born in 1944 in Neptune Township, New Jersey. From the beginning, her life was marked by pain and rejection. His mother, Julia, was already 40 years old when she gave birth and did not hide that she did not want such a child. This rejection was a heavy burden for such a small child. Inside the house, the situation was even worse. His father, Daniel Sr., worked hard but had serious drinking problems. When he drank, the violence exploded. Constant fights, screams, and even aggression were part of Danny's daily life. Even before she turned 15, the police had been called to her home 17 times. The environment was hostile, and there was no room for affection or safety. In addition, Danny was born with Fairbanks disease, a rare condition that causes dwarfism and chronic bone pain. From an early age, he faced awkward looks, cruel jokes, and the feeling of not fitting in anywhere. While other children ran free, he struggled with the limitations of his own body. But in the midst of so many difficulties, something inside him began to grow, an unusual determination. Instead of indulging in suffering, Danny decided to use all that rejection as fuel. He wanted to prove that his life would not be defined by his mother's contempt, his father's violence, or his physical condition. This spirit of resistance would be the key that would propel him away from that dark home towards an unexpected journey. As a teenager, Danny DeVito lived in a neighborhood plagued by violence and drugs. Heroin was the hallmark of Neptune Township streets. Even before he turned 16, he had already lost 2 friends to overdoses. At every turn, I saw young people destroying themselves, and I knew that if I stayed there, I would meet the same fate. It was then that he decided to escape. He started saving every penny he could. After years of small jobs and savings, he managed to scrape together exactly $237. It wasn't much, but it represented his chance of survival. Danny knew he needed support. He convinced a local priest to intercede for him at a prestigious Catholic school, the Oratory Preparatory School. With discipline and faith, he won a seat. For him, education was the only way to escape from that bleak future. Of the 12 closest childhood friends, only 3 survived to the age of 25 without ending up dead, imprisoned, or addicted to chemicals. Danny understood that his fate would be different only if he made radical decisions. Leaving your community was not easy. He carried with him painful memories, but also the certainty that he could not return. Adolescence was marked by the struggle for survival, and this escape represented the first concrete step towards a new life. Still uncertain, but full of possibilities. Away from the violent environment of youth, Danny sought a practical way to support himself. She decided to study at a beauty school, where she quickly excelled. He finished second in his class after more than 1,500 hours of training. He started working in a salon with a curious name, Curl Up and Dye. It was there that he discovered not only talent, but also creativity. Danny developed a unique hairstyle, the so-called Neptune twist, which quickly became a local fever. The appointments began to have months of waiting, and the young man who once had almost no future was now recognized for his skill with scissors and sprays. Despite the success, Danny felt something was missing. The routine in the salon was comfortable, but his mind sought something beyond. Fate intervened unexpectedly. One day, while serving a client, she commented on a theater audition and insisted that he give it a try. Danny laughed, not believing he could act, but accepted out of curiosity. This simple decision would completely change your life. He, who had found stability as a hairdresser, was about to discover a much greater passion. A new door was opening, and Danny still had no idea how far it could take him. Danny's entry into the acting world happened almost by accident. Initially, he wanted to study makeup for cinema, but eventually accepted into a theater course. It was a shock. Shy, insecure, and outside Hollywood standards, he never imagined himself on stage. Still, he decided to take a chance. The following years were of extreme poverty. He shared a small apartment in New York with Michael Douglas, paying $75 rent. The money was barely enough to survive. Among 248 auditions, he landed only 3 small jobs, adding up to about $800 in years of effort. To survive, he did anything. He was a zookeeper, a human mannequin in shop windows, and even slept inside the car. The frustrations were so great that I thought about giving up. At one point, Hollywood executives offered him $1 million to undergo cosmetic surgery that would correct his appearance. Danny refused. He knew he couldn't betray his identity just to fit superficial standards. This period forged his resolve. Each closed door only reinforced his will to continue. Life seemed unfair, but Danny believed that a real chance would still arise. This chance, however, would come unexpectedly at the very moment when I thought about giving up for good. The decisive moment came in 1975. The same day he was about to take a job at the post office. Danny was called in for an audition. The role was small, but it was part of an ambitious production. The film One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. The connection was immediate. The producer was Michael Douglas, his former roommate, who believed in Danny's talent. More than that, he had already played the Martini character on stage, which gave him extra security. His participation in the film was short. Only 5 minutes and 52 seconds of screen time. However, his presence attracted attention. Even without long lines, Danny managed to impart intensity and authenticity to the character. It was enough for critics and colleagues in the profession to realize that there was something special in this unlikely actor. The film was an absolute success, winning the top 5 Oscars, including Best Picture. For Danny, that brief appearance represented the turning point he had hoped for years. Finally, his image was no longer just that of a failed dreamer and was now viewed with respect in the industry. That first step would open much bigger doors, taking him from small roles to a career no one could have imagined. In 1978, Danny made a risky decision. He abandoned 3 films in progress to devote himself to a television project. At the time, many considered this a real career suicide, since cinema was seen as superior to TV. But Danny trusted his instinct. At the audition, he surprised everyone with a 7-minute impromptu monologue, loaded with intensity and acid humor. The producers were so impressed that they decided to give him one of the main roles. Thus was born Louis De Palma, the grumpy dispatcher and taxi handler. Louis wasn't just an ordinary villain. Danny gave the character complex layers, mixing cruelty with vulnerability. The result was one of the most iconic characters on American television. In just 8 episodes, the studio received 11,000 letters from fans. The public loved to hate him. Official recognition was not long in coming. Danny won a Golden Globe in 1980 and an Emmy in 1981, cementing his position as one of TV's most outstanding actors. Polls at the time showed that 93% of Americans recognized his voice, a rare feat for any actor. Taxi's cultural impact was profound. The series became a landmark, and Louis De Palma went down in history as one of the most beloved villains on television. Danny had turned a risk into consecration, paving the way for even greater challenges to follow. As his career grew, Danny's personal life also took an unexpected turn. In 1971, he met Rhea Perlman in an unusual way. She went to his apartment to end a relationship with a roommate. But instead of goodbyes, an immediate connection was born. That same night, they talked for more than 6 hours. Danny always said that he knew in just 22 minutes that he had found the right person. The chemistry between the two was so strong that they soon became inseparable. The partnership was not only in the personal field. Rhea joined the cast of Taxi, where she also shone, and together they decided to create the production company Jersey Films in 1983. In addition, they established a simple rule to protect marriage: never go more than 2 weeks without working together on some project. They married in 1982, and over more than 4 decades, participated in 17 projects together. The relationship faced ups and downs, but stood the test of time, becoming one of the most solid in Hollywood. For Danny, Rhea was much more than a companion. She was a support, inspiration, and creative partner. This union would become fundamental not only for his personal life, but also for the construction of his film career. After the success in Taxi, Danny was ready to conquer the cinema. He's soon shown in back-to-back hits such as Terms of Endearment 1983, Romancing the Stone 1984, and Ruthless People 1986. His versatility caught the eye. He could transition between comedy and drama without losing authenticity. In 1987, he made his directorial debut with Throw Mama from a Train. Experience has shown that Danny was not only a talented actor, but also a storyteller capable of conducting large productions. The high point came in 1988, when he starred in Twins alongside Arnold Schwarzenegger. Both agreed to give up starting salaries, betting only on profit sharing. The risk paid off. The film grossed millions and earned Danny between $35 and $40 million. In the following years, he continued to explore different genres. In The War of the Roses 1989, he showed his darker side in an acid humor drama. In 1992, he experienced perhaps his most radical transformation, the villain Penguin in Batman Returns. Danny immersed himself in the method, spending daily hours in makeup and living the character even off the set. This phase consolidated Danny as one of the most complete artists of his generation. He had proved that he could be much more than a television actor. With the experience gained, Danny decided to expand his career beyond acting. In partnership with Michael Shamberg and Stacey Sher, he founded Jersey Films, a production company that would become a landmark in the cinema of the 90s. The studio took risks that few would dare. The biggest example was when he invested $8 million in an unconventional script called Pulp Fiction. The film not only became a phenomenon, but redefined American independent cinema. The production company also served for Danny's personal projects. In 1996, he directed Matilda, a film beloved by generations. Behind the scenes, he showed his human side by caring for young actress Mara Wilson, whose mother was battling cancer during filming. The diversity of Jersey Films was impressive. He has produced everything from intense dramas like Man on the Moon 1999 to comedies and groundbreaking independent films. Danny was not just an actor or director. He became an entrepreneur who was able to identify unique talents and stories. The impact was lasting. In the 90s, Jersey Films helped turn the indie industry into something viable and respected. Once again, Danny showed that he knew how to see opportunities where others saw only risks. Despite the brilliant career, Danny quietly lived with a daily struggle. Fairbanks disease, which accompanied him from birth, worsened with age. He described constant chronic pain as being between 6 and 8 on a scale of 10. At the behest of Hollywood, he kept his condition a secret for decades. Executives feared the industry would see him as weak. So Danny stuck to his routine, up to 4:30 a.m. of daily physical therapy and grueling repetitions on tape. In some cases, it took 19 takes to complete a single scene due to physical limitations. Despite this, he maintained a life of quiet generosity. He donated about $12 million to research on bone diseases, without seeking public recognition. Only in 2025 did he decide to speak openly about his condition. The actor revealed to the audience the extent of the pain that he endured in silence throughout his career. By exposing her vulnerability, she inspired others to face their difficulties with courage. This revelation did not mean the end, but a new chapter in his journey, marked by honesty and the struggle to leave a legacy beyond the screens. In 2006, Danny accepted an unexpected invitation to enter the irreverent comedy It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Many thought it was a step down, but his arrival changed everything. Ratings grew 227% in the second season, proving he still had the power to transform any production. Even so, he accepted a modest salary, $70,000 per episode, 10 times less than he had already received at the peak of his film career. For Danny, it wasn't about money, but about staying creative and connected with new generations. His role as Frank Reynolds required unusual physical dedication. He accepted bizarre scenes, such as emerging naked covered in disinfectant, crawling in garbage dumps, and even suffering minor injuries in the name of comedy. Audiences loved his delivery, and Frank became one of the most remembered characters on Moderna television. The result was an impressive longevity, 20 years playing Frank. Today, many young people know Danny more for Sunny than for his classics in cinema. He achieved something rare, reinventing himself without losing authenticity. This reinvention kept him relevant, showing that his career was not only history of the past, but was still in motion. While shining on the screens, Danny's personal life went through turmoil. In 2012, after 30 years of marriage, he and Rhea Perlman announced their separation. The news shocked fans who had always seen the two as a symbol of enduring togetherness in Hollywood. But the story did not end there. Between 2013 and 2017, the couple tried to reconcile. They participated in 38 sessions of couples therapy, seeking to restore the relationship that had resisted decades of external pressures. During this period, they even appeared together at events, fueling hopes of definitive reconciliation. However, in 2017, they decided to officially end their married life. Interestingly, they did not sign the divorce. They maintained a close relationship, living in separate houses but only a mile apart. This closeness allowed to create a unique family ritual. They continued to meet weekly, maintain simple habits such as splitting their Netflix account, and participated in the activities of their children and grandchildren together. For both, the family remained an absolute priority. The separation did not destroy the partnership built over more than 4 decades. On the contrary, it has given rise to a new form of coexistence, less traditional but equally solid. In recent years, Danny has turned some of his energy to social causes. In 2023, he donated $500,000 to the hospital in Neptune Township, where he was born, as a way of giving back to the origins that have marked his life so much. In addition to donations, she has become an active voice in activism for people with disabilities and rare physical conditions. She went on to openly question the beauty standards imposed by Hollywood, denouncing how the industry marginalizes those who do not fit its molds. His personal mission expanded to children's hospitals. Danny advocates greater investment in research and treatments for bone disorders, especially for children who, like him, grow up facing physical pain and social biases. This stance, however, brought costs. While speaking openly about his medical condition, rumors have surfaced that some studios have shunned his name. The so-called informal blacklist reportedly led to the cancellation or postponement of planned appearances. Even in the face of the consequences, Danny held firm to his position. For him, honesty and the struggle for dignity were worth more than any lost contract. This activism has given new contours to his legacy, showing that his influence goes beyond entertainment. In 2025, Danny lived one of the most talked about episodes of his recent career. During an appearance on Jimmy Kimmel Live, he clashed directly with the host. Dissatisfied with a joke deemed offensive, Danny left the studio in the middle of recording. The episode quickly went viral. On social media, hashtags like hashtag Danny versus Kimmel and hashtag DeVito Unleashed spread, dividing opinions. For some, it was a real moment, where Danny showed courage and authenticity. For others, it was seen as unprofessionalism. The actor, however, showed no regrets. He declared publicly, "I stand by everything I said." This firm stance further strengthened his image as someone who never bends to outside pressures. But the fallout had consequences. Reports pointed to possible cancellations of interviews and postponements of invitations on other programs. Rumors have surfaced of a new blacklist, this time linked to the episode with Kimmel. Still, Danny maintained his work routine and did not shy away from the public. The confrontation became another chapter in his long trajectory, marked by boldness and authenticity. Even at the age of 80, Danny DeVito remains active and creative. In 2024, he began production on the Game 7 series, a family project developed alongside his children Jake and Lucy. The production marked a new phase, where the family became a direct partner in their artistic journey. At the same time, he remained steadfast in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, completing 2 decades as Frank Reynolds. Such longevity is rare on television and reinforces its ability to reinvent itself. Its versatility remains intact. He recently became involved in a sports documentary, as well as continuing to explore comedy and dramatic roles. Danny has never limited himself to a single genre, remaining open to new experiences. Most striking is the generational influence. Today, younger fans know him only as Frank Reynolds, while others still remember him from films like Batman Returns or Twins. This multiplicity of images proves the breadth of his career. His legacy is cemented. From a rejected and sick child to an enduring cultural icon, Danny not only survived the hardships, but turned his story into inspiration. At the age of 80, it shows that relevance does not depend on age, but on the courage to continue creating. And that was the incredible and at the same time sad journey of Danny DeVito. At 80, he remains an icon that has marked generations. Now, I want to know your opinion. What impressed you most about his story? Leave your comment below. I will love to read and respond. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notifications bell to follow the next videos that are coming. Thanks for watching and see you next time.